Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we're going to do a brief review of the Postmarket OS and Phosh on the Pinephone. So here I have this guy booted up. So we have the latest Postmarket OS 23.12. Linux kernel is 647, and this is the Pine 64 Pinephone. So this one here is so far the best of the operating systems that I've tried and the best of the desktop environments. Now, GNOME, actually, I really like GNOME, so I'm going to give GNOME a little bit more of an expanded try as well. Also, as this boots up, I'll tell you we are recording this on a stock Pixel phone. I just want to see how the stock Pixel does with recording quality, and I set this at a 4K 60 frame per second to record, so we'll see what this guy looks like. Now, of course, I customized the wallpapers and such, and so you can see here I just put in a nice little foggy picture, and you can see down here I have a lot of the options turned off. We do have a good backlight there, so there's our torch which you can turn on or you can turn off, and you can actually brighten it or dim it as well. So that is actually an interesting feature. It doesn't seem to work super well, but in theory you can bright or dim the torch. So we have our screen brightness. We'll go ahead and turn our brightness up so we can see the video better, and hopefully we'll see the phone contrasted with the white background there. And of course we can do our audio over here. Here we have a lock option. Now we're not logged into the phone yet, so none of these two are going to work. So we're just going to slide up, and we're going to slide up again and enter our passkey. Now this raises the first major problem on both GNOME and on Phosh, is that the passkey default is going to go to your numbers. You have the option for your full keyboard over here as well. And the problem that we have is that when you go to reset your password, GNOME Software Center, or the GNOME Settings Center, which both of these use, requires you to have a complicated password. So you cannot go into there and enter a simple digit PIN password, whether that's 4 digits or 6 digits. You can't do that. Now you do, since it's full Linux, you can go in and just do the password reset command on the terminal, the pass WD. And when you do that, you can go ahead and set whatever password you want. I'm just going to use a simple PIN. Now what I found is with the simple PIN though, is it doesn't actually unlock the keychain. Let me go ahead and tip this guy up. We're at a slight angle just so it does a really good job of auto resetting itself. So I am going to have to enter my passkey one more time to unlock the keychain. When I did test complicated passwords, it would unlock that automatically, and the default password also unlocked automatically. I think that was 147147. So here you can see what we have here. And now I swapped the calendar app. The calendar app they gave us by default has it has a really nice button down at the bottom to choose between today and week and month. You could really easily flop things around. The problem I found is that it would not sync with Nextcloud at all. So you could go in and set up online accounts and it would not sync. So the GNOME calendar does. It doesn't have as beautiful of a layout, but if you do switch it this way, it will automatically switch and give you the options to do your today and your month and things like that. So I found that if you wanted to use Nextcloud or anything else to automatically sync your calendars, just going back to the GNOME calendar was the better option. The other things that file transfer, I could not get syncing well at all. And the desktop Nextcloud client for Linux works great on a desktop. It does not work well on the Pinephone. It was an extraordinarily frustrating experience. So transferring files is very difficult, especially since you can't just plug it into your computer and transfer files. Although, to be fair, I did not actually try that here on Phosh. So maybe I'll go ahead and give that a brief try and see what happens here. Let me go ahead and just plug this guy in and see if my computer recognizes it as a device. I'm having a sneaky suspicion it will not, but we'll go ahead and see. Now I see nothing, so it's not going to work. Now there are some packages, particularly on Debian. You can get a package which is going to resolve that. I have not gotten that to work any other way. They do give us Lollipop out of the box, which does work very well. and it is good mobile responsive. The only thing I don't like about Lollipop is it has no option to sort things by folders, at least not that I've found. But you can sort by a lot of different ways, and the problem is the songs I threw on here to test, they don't have any IDD tag information, so there's nothing in there. If I threw things in that have good IDD tag, this would be the perfect media player. So I think as actually a very excellent choice for your media player. They did not give us Firefox out of the box, but Firefox does work very well on the mobile. Of course, let's go ahead and give it some data here. We'll go ahead and turn on cellular, and we'll go ahead and turn on Wi-Fi. And it does, you'll see it does automatically connect to my van. And cellular, the downside about cellular right now is I'm in a spot that cellular it's working on my Razr phone just fine. You can see it's got the T-Mobile signal. This one here, the modems are a lot less powerful in this phone. If I leave the van, it is still saying 4G, but I was not able to test a call with this. I have tested calls with this, however, and it did actually work. The one thing I forgot to test is how does it work with Bluetooth. But anyway, let's just go ahead on Firefox. We're talking about Firefox right now. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's just go ahead and search for something, and you'll see it should, as long as it connects to the network. Let me go ahead and turn off the cellular so it's not trying to do the cellular connection there. It should actually work just fine. I have decent internet where I'm at. I don't have amazing internet, but I have decent internet. So you can see that it is working, and this is the full desktop version. So with the full desktop version, I can do any of the customizations I might want to do for my settings. Well, I should be able to. There's the menu bar. Let me just get rid of this settings there. There you go. There's your new tab. There's your settings. I was just kind of slipping out of my way there. But you can see it actually works decently. It's not the perfect ideal situation. Of course, one of the features, though, that's nice, you can see it's not working perfectly. Postmarket does have this awesome application called Mobile Settings. And when you load up Mobile Settings, if you find an application like that that's not working quite well, you can go over here and you can find the compositor and you can hit this button, and it's going to force that application to accept your settings better. And so let me go ahead and click out of settings, and let's see if it actually works better this time. I found almost every app works. This one, it looks like it's still not going to. I think that's just an issue of how settings is built up. But you can see here, it is going to work. It is the full desktop version. Of course, slide up. Let me open up another application. Well, you slide up and you hit it and it'll close out. Let me do that, and then we'll also open up Firefox. You'll see that it is a fairly responsive on this particular operating system. So there you go. So you can sort between your applications over here. You can search apps over here. And I have over here the full LibreOffice suite, which works acceptably, actually. Particularly if I dock this guy, LibreOffice works great. We do have the full GNOME software store, so as long as a software application does have an ARM version, it will be in here. You can see here there is calling for a system update. We'll worry about the system update a little bit later. I did find some apps just don't work. So, for example, Bible Time. I've not found a good Bible app that works well. I think Xiphos might work a little bit better. I tried that out on, maybe on Manjaro. I think it was a slightly better experience. Now, it's not in the repo, so I had to grab this from the Flatpak. And even utilizing the compositor, it's a hard experience. So I got rid of all of the things on the side. The challenge is you just can't grab that scroll bar easily. And so there you go. You can see it, how much struggle it was just to grab that scroll bar. So it is really hard because by default, just trying to slide up and down, it just highlights text. Doesn't actually scroll things. So I don't know of a good Bible app, and there's nothing in the Postmarket software store for reading Bibles. So that and Xiphos, and there's a couple other ones in Flatpak. We do have the full GIMP version. That's pretty nice, which again, docking, it is a much better experience. But hey, if you do need to gimp in some photos here, you'll see it will actually load up just fine and it'll work. So there's that. Of course, if I can go this direction here, might be a little bit better of an experience. And this one might be a good candidate to try that other application for getting it to work. But again, that's not something you're going to work with that much on the fly. Contacts does sync perfectly with Nextcloud. I'm not going to open the app just because I actually right now have this synced to my production server, so I don't want to display my real contacts in there. But yeah, that actually syncs up right. So the calendar is a problem and the files is a problem. Contacts syncs up very well. The other great thing is the console works really well. So anything that you need for a console, I've actually been using this to log in and shut down my SSH via SSH, my local Nextcloud build that I've been working on for video testing. So that works pretty well. So let's just go ahead and exit the terminal and it'll actually close itself. So that's pretty good. So as far as your snappiness, this one is a much better experience than Plasma. It has not crashed nearly as much as Plasma. And for the most part, it has worked very well. So here's some tweaks. Here's your Phosh tweaks. So you can turn on your weekdays if you want to on your calendar. Up there, you can turn on your seconds. You can turn on your date. And you can show your battery percentage or not. Now, this is the downside. This was at 94 or so percent when we started. It's down to 83. I did find that this works best if you turn off all of the radios when you're not using them. So just come in here and turn all these guys off. Here's your performance. You can actually disable some of the animations, which is probably going to make it run a little bit better if you want to. Here's applications filter. So enable this to filter out non-adaptive apps in the application list. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Let me come back and see what this, whoa, stop. Okay, there you go. So you can see it actually filtered out all of the everything that isn't adaptive. That's actually kind of neat. So you can actually do that if you wanted, if you're using it in like phone mode, and turn that off if you're not, or you can probably still find them in the search bar as well. So let's see. All right, so here's your power settings. So you can set how long it stays on. You can set the maximum charge level, which by default it was down to, I think, 80% or not, it was either 80 or 90, and it would not charge beyond that. So I did want to bump that up to make sure I could fully charge it. Here's your sound options. So you can set in some default sound things. So there's custom profiles, default sound profiles. Here's your disk unlocker. You can set your fonts. So you can really do the full range of customization. As far as your overall system settings, this is effectively the same thing as the GNOME software or GNOME settings. This is one of the frustrations. If you turn off Bluetooth, it automatically turns on airplane mode, which is really stupid because I may not want airplane mode turned on just because I'm turning Bluetooth off. So that is utterly ridiculous, but that certainly is. And doesn't seem to be a global setting for airplane mode unless they're defining airplane mode as all these are turned off. But if I turn on, for example, Bluetooth, and I turn on cellular, and then I go into Bluetooth and turn this off, usually it throws the thing into airplane mode. Why is it doing that? Because airplane mode might kick off your cellular. I don't want to turn on airplane mode just because I'm turning on Bluetooth, but turning off airplane mode there turns Bluetooth back on. Those are different settings in the rest of the world. Now, let's just do a quick test of Bluetooth. I'm going to actually connect those dime black headphones. Let's see if they actually connect. And you'll see that it automatically connects. So that's actually, and then it's disconnected itself because I have no earthly idea why Bluetooth just decided to do that. Let's go ahead and try this again. We're going to turn off Bluetooth. We're going to turn it back on, and we'll see if they connect. I have no idea why Bluetooth toggled itself off once the headphones connected themselves. So I might have to go back through and try and reconnect them. Let's try connection manually. And now it connected. So you might have the case where it connected perfectly fine. I don't know why it kicked off Bluetooth. That's actually the first time it did that to me. But once that happened, I went back into Lollipop and I was actually able to listen to the music. So that was actually good. I did not yet get the chance to test if a phone call actually works in doing that. And for some reason that setting, that Bluetooth setting was not going away. So I had to push that up, you'll see, and to get rid of it. You can adjust your appearance over here, light, dark. And I did customize, as you saw, I did customize our pictures and such. So you can see I have a nice desert view on my app screen. Basically your desktop wallpaper, which really only shows when an app is in the process of loading, is the original Postmarket picture, and my login screen is from a foggy morning in Arizona somewhere. Here's under your privacy settings, of course. Here's your screen lock options, your cameras, your device security, all that kind of stuff. Here's your displays. So this is actually what the current resolution is. And if you drop the scale down to 100%, it really does mess up a lot of the options. Like it'll kind of messes up the formatting in some cases. Some things don't work quite as well, but I don't know, maybe some apps might work as well. Let me see if I can search for Bible time. So it looks like it completely filters out those apps. Show all apps. There you go. So there you go. You can do that. Let's see if this actually allows me to use my Bible app. So this might be a workaround to work an app that's not otherwise working. And you'll see there, it's like, well, that's an interesting thing. Let's see. It's really hard to narrow in on things. Let me go ahead and run this. I'm just going to see what happens if I run this setting and see what it does. You will notice that the, okay, so Bible time is set to run in the phone mode. So let me turn that off. Let me turn that off, and then we'll boot Bible time back up and we'll see what it does. You will see it's not the perfect experience, but hey, for being pure Linux, it's actually not too bad. All right, so it looks like I might have to close that and reopen the window. You will notice it's very hard to get to. I guess we'll boot up whatever English version I just loaded. So yeah, that's actually smaller than my regular Bible font. Infinitely harder to use. So you will notice some apps not as good of an experience. No, not that. Let's load up settings. We're going to scale that back to 100% so the phone is actually usable again. You can see that if you adjust some of those settings, they can be a little bit wonky. Let's go ahead and go back to that. Apply. There we are. Hopefully that stays and doesn't throw itself back down. Okay. So here's multitasking. Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's just go ahead and show the about screen as the final wrap up. So you can just toggle the keyboard on and off. This was actually a problem on Plasma where you didn't always have the option to turn that off. Here's your Postmarket OS, your Pinephone, here's your memory, disk capacity. And this, by the way, is running off of a generic on-brand SD card. So this is how this is working on a generic SD card. Overall, it does work pretty well. I do want to test it out a little bit more in places that are not the hills of West Virginia, where I might actually have better cell signal. I do want to test out if the headphones will properly work to make a phone call. That is actually something that did not work on Plasma, where even though my Bluetooth headphones were connected, Plasma Manjaro, I could not talk on the phone through the Bluetooth headset. And I do want to test that out there. So that is our overall review of Postmarket OS on Phosh. And So it is a very nice system. It is probably one of the better ones so far. I do like the Ubuntu Touch, although that's not snappy enough really to use. And I really wanted to give Plasma a try, but there were just a lot of issues with Plasma. So this one over here, though, works out pretty well. So if you are in the market for one of these, you might start here, Postmarket OS with Phosh, as a good experience. I think next we're going to have a look at Postmarket OS with GNOME, because I love GNOME on the on this particular phone. It is still beautiful. I just wanted to test this out, see if it works slightly better, and they're about the same. So we'll go ahead and do that. Maybe next week we'll look at GNOME. So there is the video, recorded on a stock Pixel. So we're just testing that out as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you all next time.